Thank you for having me.
Thanks for being here. Summer, this is really your opportunity to, show the world and let you show the world what you're all about and your mission and passion and drive in the art industry. So my 30 seconds or less is Summer Martens. It's a pet portrait artist. Your specialty is dogs and building a brand in the creative scene. Not an easy thing for everyone to do, and I think the authenticity of your brand really speaks. Summer, tell me how you got into this. Tell me your story. Why art?
Yeah, so I'm currently a pet portrait artist. I do these realistic drawings of pets, and then I do live sketches of animals as well. What got me into drawing is, truthfully, I've been doing it my whole life, ever since I was little. When people ask me at markets, I say that I've been drawing since I could hold a crayon.
How old were you when you could hold a Crayola?
Probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably when my parents let me.
How old were you when you could hold a Crayola?
Probably 3 or 4 years old.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably when my parents let me start holding things up.
So you wouldn't eat it at that point?
Exactly.
There you go.
Exactly.
So most of your life?
Yeah, I've been drawing most of my life. I remember in grade 3, so I was 8 years old, I was designated as the artist of the class, and I remember my teacher using my art as examples to show the class, and that just made me feel kind of special, but more so my skill was kind of recognized at 8 years old. So I've been drawing all through elementary school. I was the artist in the class, and just been going ever since. It's taken dips and come back. It's kind of been a reoccurring hobby my whole life. But about high school age was when I was interested in turning it into a business.
So that's what, 5, 6 years ago for you?
No, close to 10 years ago now, actually. When I remember being 13, 14, being interested in becoming an artist and just seeing that on social media. So then I created an art account. I was actually 12 years old when I created my first Instagram account.
And what's that account called?
It was called Summer Draws.
We'll pull it up there.
Yeah.
You'll see
Summer Draws. Yeah. And I low-key wish I kept posting on that account because I like that username so much more.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, so I started posting on Instagram just for fun. And then maybe around 14, I came back to it, started posting again. And I was definitely interested in turning it into a business with prints and things like that. But I didn't really know how other than posting on Instagram. And that wasn't really seeming to get me anywhere. So put it on the back burner for a long time. And I eventually, the first time I ever got paid for my artwork was a coworker at the grocery store I worked at. She had seen some of my stuff, my movie characters that I had drawn.
What kind of movie characters?
I did a lot of Pirates of the Caribbean. I loved Jack Sparrow, Captain Barbossa, and Davy Jones. So I done them. I did some Breaking Bad, some Star Wars. And I was posting those on my Instagram account that I currently use, not the Summer Draws one. But she asked me if I could draw a portrait of her and her sister. And I think she paid me, I quoted her $90 and she paid me $100. And I was like, heck yeah, that's awesome.
It's a good feeling.
$10 tip.
Yeah.
And then from there, another coworker asked me to draw her dog. And that was my first ever pet portrait. I think that was in 2022 or 2023. I did a few more pet portraits just around that one grocery store for my coworkers. And then went traveling and my life took me in other directions. And I came to Kelowna for tourism business, an education in tourism business. But the business courses kind of re-inspired me and taught me a little bit of how I can get started, how to actually start some of those other things other than just posting on Instagram.
Mm.
So before I had even taken my first final exam at college, I already launched my whole business as an artist again. And we're doing it.
We're doing it.
Yeah.
And so how long have you been, I guess, full-time work as an artist? Because we're very different. Obviously, like, that's amazing. You get to see your whole story as an artist. But we're going from, you know, first sketch as a coworker piece, getting a $10 tip, to like, this is my primary source of income.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a lot of people in step one and they do a little bit of stuff here and there, they'll draw.
For sure.
And that jump is very difficult to make. Like, what was that jump for you?
Yeah, during school, I definitely had it going on the side. I was probably spending just as much time on artwork as I was on school, which as the art picked up, the school kind of went down. So kind of working on it part-time during school. I also had a part-time job at a winery at the time, so my time was kind of split between those 3 different things. And then once my spring semester ended, I got so much time back that I could put toward drawing. And it was kind of at that point that I quit my job at the winery, partly because I wasn't really enjoying it anymore, and partly because I wanted that time for my art and to really get that going and concentrate on it. And I had some summer courses, so I had a bit of schoolwork that was taking up some of my time, but other than that, I was just drawing and doing events. And it was probably about mid-May, I can say that.
So a month ago?
Honestly, yeah. It's been super recent, but it's been a crazy month.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll say it's been like 5-6 weeks. But yeah, in the last 5-6 weeks, I can say I've been like a full-time artist. And
like, outside of school, I'll preface, and please go back, but like, you're talking income, like, how long ago did you leave your last job?
I think I quit the winery in early April. It was right around Easter time. It was like Easter weekend. And then before that, I had like a full-time summer job up until the end of August. And then I moved here in September for school. So yeah.
Basically, the winery, like, how often were you working there?
Oh, right? Extremely part-time.
Yeah, extremely part-time.
Because it was funny.
Religiously part-time.
Yeah.
She's an artist.
Yeah. I was pretty much like an artist.
I want to contextualize it's going back like a month. That sounds crazy when you say it out loud, by the way. But
I know, right?
You go back a month. Like, really, when you think about it, like, as soon as you kind of came to school, like, that was it. Like 6-7 months.
Yeah,
right?
Well, like I said, like, I had started the whole business really before I'd even taken my final exams in my first semester. So I had a bunch of Christmas portraits and another one lined up for the new year. So I had about 5 portraits lined up by like early December to be completed throughout December and into the new year. And then since then, it's just been going ever since. So I say that my business as an artist started officially like January 1st, even though I had been doing some Christmas stuff. And
you were nominated at the Hall School of Business opening.
That's right. That was in February. I had the opportunity to speak on the panel. The Hall family donated $10 million to Okanagan College, and the college kind of renamed their business school to the Hall School of
Business and Entrepreneurship.
And my marketing teacher, she knew about my business, and I had been asking a lot of questions and forming a relationship with all of my professors, but my marketing teacher specifically, she had me in mind when the faculty were looking for student entrepreneurs. So she reached out to me, and yeah, it was a really cool opportunity to speak on that and connect my learning to my business and meet some interested clients. came from that as well.
That's good. That's really good. So what does prospecting look like in your business? How do you find, what has been it's a two-parter. First of all, what's been I guess your biggest constraint in the work you're doing? Is it lead flow? Is it time? Who doesn't need time? But is lead flow, time, getting marketing, getting yourself out there? And then the second part of that question is, how do you prospect? Like, what does your process look like? How do you, it's art, so it sounds different, but how do you close a deal?
Yeah. What comes to mind is there's been 2 different phases of my business so far, and each one has had different challenges. So, and it comes before and after I started doing my live sketches. Before I started doing the sketching events, I had a really hard time just finding pet owners. Again, it kind of felt like it was just me posting on Instagram, and that's kind of where I struggled in high school, starting the business. So it was just me on Instagram, and I didn't know how to find my audience. And then I saw So Fetch here in Kelowna, and they're a canine social club. I saw them, and I thought what they were doing was really cool, just bringing people together, having little dog parties, people could bring their dogs in. So within a couple days of finding them online, I went in and asked, hey, can I do some live pet sketches at your next meetup event? And I was not a sketch artist. I've honestly never really been a sketch artist. I've always had sketchbooks and doodles and stuff, but doing a quick sketch on the fly,
in public.
Oh, in public especially.
Most artists are private. They, in the corner.
Yeah. So it was super out of my comfort zone, but I saw the opportunity there, and I needed to get where the dog owners were at. And I also thought too, if people are maybe spending a little money to go to a little party with their dogs, then maybe they'll like a little keepsake to take away too. So, and they loved the idea. They had me in by the end of the week at their next meetup event, and that was in February. So I was kind of going weekly during the winter. They had these meetups, and the live sketches at first were harder than the colored portraits because, again, not a sketch artist. So it was just a whole different art style. But once I started doing those sketches and being in the room with the dog owners and finding prospects became a lot easier. Once I was actually sitting there in front of them, having conversations, meeting the animals.
Because now you're in front of qualified prospects. Now
Exactly.
You're finding them where they're at.
Yeah. And for me, like in-person connections it's definitely easier than online. Like I think I'm a personable person, so I would way rather have a conversation with people on their pets and they can show me photos and tell me stories rather than I'm just a photo that they see online and scroll past. So as far as prospect gathering, lead generation, the two different phases of that, before I started doing the live sketches, very hard on just from social media alone. After I started doing that, I've been able to go to breweries with my sketches, farmers markets, and my whole booth is just dog and pet themed. So people come right over and I have like examples and demos of my work. I point them to my website and social media. And honestly, some days it just feels like people are coming to me. But then actually closing them as a lead, that's something that I get to like witness coming up because I'll be reopening my pet portrait commissions soon. And
what is soon?
On August 1st.
Okay.
But I might even be able to open it a little bit early.
We'll see.
But yeah,
that's kind of your
leads.
wide net.
Yeah.
And you can have a look at everyone.
Yeah. I have like my email list is where people will be getting first access. So I'll send out the booking link to them first, and there's about like 50 or 60 people on there right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see how that goes. But right now it's just been like advertising and building up to it. And I'll actually get to close a bunch of those leads soon.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So I'm excited.
Yeah, I am excited.
Yeah, absolutely. And the sketching, because that's obviously prospecting too. Like you're talking about, like this is the sales translation of this, but it's like low ticket, high ticket offer. So you could close 5 people on a low ticket or 1 on a high ticket. So one costs, like what do your sketches cost?
The sketches are $40 each.
And then these, I also want to walk through stories behind these, because we talk about being personal and in person, and every pet has a story.
Oh yeah.
As they say, but so pets sketches are $40, and then your big portraits, depending on the size, are what, about 10 times that?
About, yeah.
But they take a lot more time, right? And they're a lot more
hours
effort.
And hours.
Yeah, but yeah, I want to walk through this, because we'll maybe talk about each pet, and then give me the prospecting process, how you met this person, how they decided to make the decision, and how that looks like for you. And then from there, we'll talk a little more about your art style.
Yeah, I want to start with this little guy, actually. This guy's name is Max, and that was commissioned from one of my coworkers at the grocery store. So that one was actually my very first pet portrait.
That was the $90? Oh no, that was a
No, that one was maybe about $150.
Okay.
Maybe $200. I hope I charged at least $200 for that at that time, but that was the first pet portrait I had ever done. And you might notice, compared to the other ones, it was actually done on brown paper. So the white dog really stands out and pops against it. But yeah, that one was 2022 or 3, I can't quite remember. Done for a coworker. First dog I'd ever drawn, and honestly, it's one of my favorites to this day. So I don't know what air I was breathing in that grocery store, but it pumped out some great art. Moving into this one here, this group of 4, these were the waitlist through Christmas time that I had the pleasure of creating for your family.
How did you close those?
I had a very supportive boyfriend.
A salesman.
Yeah. Yes, and salesman. No, you commissioned those from me for, that one's for your family, and then those are for your cousins and aunts out in Alberta. But yeah, I think you wanted to give me a little head start and also give me some promotional materials. I've used those.
It's also a kick-ass Christmas gift. It makes me look really good. So
that's true.
Yeah,
that's true. From the videos you sent me, you had high praises.
Very
high
family. Praises. Yeah.
So yeah, it was really nice to do, and kind of a fun way to get to know your family as well. And then I'm kind of going chronological order. So after these, I had this horse lined up for New Year's. So as I was pumping out these pieces, my coworker at the winery, I was kind of showing her kind of each one as I had done it. And she had just lost her horse the year before. So I had never drawn a horse before. And but she wanted one. So I think it was mid-December. She committed to having one done early January. And I got to draw a siren for her. And that one was really special when I gifted it, because she had her 5-year-old son with her. And she opened it and showed it to him, and he immediately recognized it. He was like, oh, it's siren.
It's a good feeling. That's a very good feeling.
If a 5-year-old can recognize my drawing to the animal, I feel pretty good about that.
You've done your job, yeah.
Yeah, I feel good about that. Next, we had Blaze at the end there, the chocolate lab. So the Blaze piece came from going on the Founders Hike here in Kelowna regularly. And one day I had the opportunity to meet and chat with Renee Warren. And we were just kind of talking about like each other's businesses, and she was asking about mine. And I talked about my work and the pet portraits, and she wanted one done of her dog. So that was a really special piece. That felt very validating, because I look up to her and her husband, Dan Martell, as well. So it was just kind of cool to be
Mhm.
commissioned from them. And
Pretty cool. And that was a really cool one. Like, you just get yourself out there.
yeah.
You talk to people.
Yeah,
You
no,
know.
literally, like this hike every week, you kind of meet new people and introduce yourself and network, and
Mhm.
you get to meet some cool people, and it's resulted in some clients, and quite a few people from the hike are on my wait list now for August 1st, so we'll see
Mm.
how many of them book. But it was really special to deliver that piece at their house as well, and finally get to meet Blaze in person when I delivered it too. And then quickly the last two here, we've got Finn. So Finn was a very special piece. Finn's owner, Mike, is also in the pet industry here in Kelowna. He does dog walking, sitting, and boarding, and his business is called I Met Your Dog. And he's just a lovely guy. So how did we meet? I honestly think we saw each other's profiles on Instagram, and we connected from there. And yeah, got to meet his boy Finn. We had a business meeting in the dog park and took Finn for a walk, which was just like so cool. First time I'd ever had.
It's like, welcome to the pet industry.
Yeah, welcome to the pet industry. I've
like
had
that.
multiple meetings in dog parks now, so that's fun. And that piece was really special to create. And I actually just today delivered another piece to Mike's family. So now his family are my collectors, apparently, as are yours. And then the last one in the middle here, that guy's name is Frankie. And another one who kind of trickled in from social media. A girl had reached out to me on Instagram, and it turns out that we actually went to elementary school together in grade 4 in northern Alberta. And I had only been at that school for 6 or 7 months, but we remembered each other and having sleepovers, and we were only 9 years old at the time. But she reached out and she loved my work and had been following for a little bit, and I shipped that one up to Fort St. John. So first time I'd ever shipped a piece as well.
Fingers crossed on Canada Post.
Oh, that was so scary. I was so nervous sending a drawing off.
Yeah.
But it arrived safe.
Well, think about that as like a like how much did that portrait cost? That's good. That one.
Well, my prices are changing a little bit as demand increases, but
we'll just say like $500. Like, it was a little bit less.
She paid $350 at the time.
Because where I was going with that is, like, imagine you're shipping $350 cash in Canada Post. You're probably going to sweat a little bit, because that's kind of what that is. It's the equivalent, right? Because it's valued at that. So yeah, of course you're going to be a little worried.
So much more than that too. Like the time and the care I put into that, and how special I knew it was going to be for her family. She was gifting it to her dad, so how special it was going to be for him. And yeah, it's always hard for me to part ways with a drawing, because I have spent so much time with it and kind of studying the pet and trying to capture their personality and transfer that onto the paper and the art. So it's always sad a little bit when I have to send a drawing off, but I know that it's going to be loved in its new home.
It's going to be loved.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, and moral of the story, like, get out there and frickin' talk to people.
Oh, yeah. That's
like, we're talking anything from, like, a 6:30 a.m. hike to, I mean, my family, but like, just random connections. Someone knows someone's dog who has a sister who has some sort of pet expo business, and then all of a sudden you meet, like, that's the whole, you know, I actually, we talked about this on my last show too, but getting paralyzed at the start line. People don't even start, and that's like half the battle is just getting out there, right? And you know, never mind doing the work itself, like just deciding that I'm gonna commit to this and I'm gonna do this, because I know in that journey of deciding to be an artist, there's questions of self-doubt, there's questions of, am I gonna make this work? There's questions of, you know, what, like, who values my art at what? And I want to transition into, you know, what do you tell yourself in those moments where you're not sure about your endeavors?
I know how important it is to just regularly show up. I've seen that pay off with my sketches and just regularly doing events. Like I try to do 2 or 3 a week, always on the weekends. But from doing that and doing different pop-ups at breweries and markets, like people have seen me around or heard of me or seen my posts on Instagram, and I get that all the time at events now. I'll hear someone walk in the brewery and say, "Oh, I've seen her on Instagram." Or someone comes up to me and they're like, "Hey, were you at this other place?" I'm like, "Yeah, I was." And they've seen me before and they were kind of interested, and then when they see me again in person, they want to get one. They want to get a sketch, or one of their friends has gotten one, but I'm only getting that reaction now because I've been consistently showing up and booking events and making connections in person.
The compound effect of branding.
Yeah.
Right? You're 6 months into sketches? Like,
yeah.
when did you start sketching?
February.
4 or 5 months into sketching?
It's crazy how it's only been that long.
But think about, like, people recognize you now. You just got to stay in the game. Like, the whole business thing of, like, most people don't make it past year 3 is usually the business mark. Like, if you make it past year 3, you have a semi-successful business is the metric a lot of people use, and like most people don't pass that domino. But think about, all of like that in any business, it transcends anything. The compound effect of your marketing and your brand and people getting to know you, especially like you can start out as a local powerhouse. Like if you're going to dominate a area or region, your local brand, especially because you like to meet people in person and you can connect here, like you can have a really, really strong foundation here. And then people know people in other places and you start to, really become a very interesting brand and something that people fall in love with. But compound, just continue to get out there, right? Like, if you're like Summer, I guess in high school, 17-year-old Summer, who was on Instagram, like trying to get her art out there and didn't know how to do that. Like, what would you say to 17-year-old Summer? What advice would you give her?
In the back of my mind, I always wish that I had stayed consistent from like 12-year-old straight, because I definitely took some big gaps in my art growing up and just kind of not believing in myself and that I would be able to be an artist. Even having the confidence to call myself an artist, like I thought I had to hit a certain point before I could say that. So what I would maybe tell younger Summer is just to keep going at it. But I'm also like, hold on, I want to think about that a little bit more.
I have a feeling something you're pondering. I'm gonna guess, and then I want you to tell me what you're actually thinking.
Okay.
I feel like you're pondering, I want to give young Summer advice, but I also don't want to interrupt the way things have now turned out.
Yeah, that's pretty on point. Like I'm happy with the way that my life has gone so far and the experiences that my younger self has had and what's kind of brought me to where I am right now. But I remember how passionate and interested I was at age 14, and it just hurts me a little bit that my younger self just wasn't confident enough to do it. So
that's a good line. Confidence in yourself.
Yeah.
So what would you say about confidence? Like where's your confidence in your art come from?
I guess just as I've gotten a little bit older with every year and new experiences, like I used to be so quiet and shy in high school. So I remember at one point thinking like, I want to be more confident. So, but it's just kind of just practice putting yourself out there a little bit, having conversations with strangers essentially, and
Yeah.
doing the things that scare you a little bit. I think that's kind of what it comes down to, is just getting out of your comfort zone, and it's something you have to practice,
Absolutely.
but the practice builds up over time. So,
And now you're a proud business owner.
yeah,
of that
even
business.
just that, like from September when I started school to maybe like about February or March, I had a hard time even calling myself an artist or a business owner or an entrepreneur. And I literally remember telling myself, just keep saying it and you'll believe it eventually. And on this hike, when I would introduce myself, I would say, oh yeah, I'm a student, I work at a winery, and I do some art on the side. And I was like, okay, no, I need to be leading with the artist. So it went from, oh, I'm a student, I work at a winery, and I'm an artist. Just saying that step more confidently. Eventually flipping the sentence structure of, oh, I'm an artist, I'm also a student, and I work at a winery sometimes.
Priorities.
And then like with the winery and art, sometimes I would just say I'm an artist and not even say the student. So over a few months, just like saying it until I actually believed it. And then became like confident and knew it was true. So.
And it shows your confidence, how you introduce yourself. It was very important.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of your business, like let's dive into how this works. Like you're an artist for 18 years, and now we've really focused on, pet sketches and very meaningful work for, like we talked about this a lot, but very highly emotionally valent work and highly impactful. It's one thing to do an artist, like a piece of something of your own creation, and someone has an interpretation of that art, and that's very unique as is. It's a whole other thing when you're doing a piece, someone recognizes a very highly important part of their life, their dog, and brings that home. You have a high impact in these memorial pieces. Like why dogs, and walk me through your process.
Mm-hmm. Dogs, for me, it just felt a little bit more like I could understand the buyer a little bit more. I think with my previous art, where they're kind of like somewhat abstract, like someone with a specific taste would have to enjoy it. I had a hard time putting myself in like the target market or whatever you want to call it, in their shoes. Like, why would they want some of this art? But with animals and pets, I mean, I've been a pet owner my whole life. My parents always had pets, and I loved animals growing up. I used to want to be a vet when I was younger. But I understand the love and the passion for a pet, and they are like part of your family and your best friend. And I could just understand why someone would want a pet portrait a little bit more from a business perspective. I still love my other like art styles, but from the business perspective, that just seemed a little bit more tangible in a way. And
you have personal experience to know that there's demand there.
Yeah. From my grocery store job, I had like 3 or 4 commissions come out of that. So I had already seen that people were interested in that, and people ask for that, and I think it was a good decision because the demand seems to always be there.
And like sketching. So I really want to like how do you create? Because this looks great. I don't know many people who can do that, or anyone. Like we're just talking pure talent, and as we know, talent is years of work and refining and honing in your craft. But what is that like show me the magic, pretty much.
Like how a piece comes together?
Yeah, like give me kind of step by step.
Like actually show you right now.
Actually show me right now.
Okay, with a sketch or something.
Like do a sketch. You can model off of one of these, or if you have a dog in mind that.
Okay.
And like you don't have to do the whole thing. Just give me like the, your process and how you approach
Yeah,
kind of
no,
walking into that.
I can break it down. So whether it's a sketch or a colored piece, it's always kind of inspired by a photo. If I have the chance to meet the pet in person, that's even better because I can see their personality. But yeah, we usually go off of a photo because even for the live sketches, a dog doesn't want to sit for 25 minutes.
No.
So with the sketches, we just kind of go off one photo to keep it simple. The customer can go enjoy the event or whatever's going on and come pick it up later. For the colored portraits, it's a little bit more collaborative and there's usually a lot more photos involved because I want to get a sense of the pet in different environments, different like expressions on their face, lighting. So different lighting kind of shows different colors in the fur, and that kind of helps me to bring those different hues into the drawing. So yeah, we go off of a bunch of pictures. At the end of the day, we usually pick one photo as the main reference, but using all those other pictures of their personality and the colors, I can kind of bring it all together into the one. As for the actual process of the drawings, they're slightly different. With the sketches, they're pretty like loose and flowy. I usually
loose and flowy.
Yeah, they're whereas the colored pieces are a lot more structured. So the colored portraits, I use a grid to kind of help lay the foundation of the piece and make sure I get all the proportions really accurate.
So what does that mean? What does gridding mean?
So a grid is I'll take the reference picture of the animal that we've selected, and then depending on the size of the page, long story short, I'll put a bunch of squares on top of the portrait. And then I'll measure out those squares on my paper. And then once I have the paper, I can just fill in each square to match up with the squares on the reference photo. So that just lets me know exactly where the eye or the nose or a lock of fur, like exactly where it is in each square.
Where it exists in the photo. That was a big, like when I watched you do sketches, I was like, how do you construct this? But there is a method to the madness. Like it's, there's some organization to the page. And even as a creative, like people think like left brain, right brain. This is what comes to mind. There's like that saying out there that the creatives think aloofy and loosely, and the right-brained, tactical, like mathematicians think very structured, but they kind of weave together. Like you're an artist, but you're creating almost like a grid point of like B2 is exactly where this nose exists.
It is a little bit mathematical sometimes. Like sometimes when I was starting out, I would lay the grids really weird on the page and have to measure out the paper really weird or find the exact center of the page, and I made it really confusing and difficult for myself sometimes, but I've got the system down now for that. Once I have the grid and I do the sketch of each square, I usually start the drawing from the eyes and then work out from there.
Okay.
But the sketches, have you ever seen those drawing tutorials where they lay out like a circle for the head and then there's like a rectangle for the body? And then, like, have you seen how they use...
I know nothing about on it. Like I grid because of you. So you're speaking to an audience who probably does.
Okay.
I've done enough research on you to know how you do things, but anything outside of that, Summer, I'm unbelievably naive.
I'll have to give an art lesson one day.
Yeah.
Well, for drawing tutorials, if you look up a drawing tutorial for anything, like at a basic level, they usually use just basic shapes to lay out that foundation. So for my sketches, that's kind of what I started doing. I would do a circle where like the middle of the head would be, and then I would draw a line across where I would lay the eyes, and then another one for the center of the face. But just in the last week or so, because I've been doing the sketches so much, I've actually noticed that I don't need to do that circle anymore, and I can just lay where the eyes are and go
Do
from
the rest.
there. Yeah.
That comes with the reps, though.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to do that in your first shot.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, no, it's just the practice and building the confidence and
Doing
learning
the
my
reps.
style with the sketches as well, because they are so different from the colored pieces.
Because like no one walks into their first pet sketch ever, transcends anything but confident. Like objectively, if you want to be really confident in what you do, like confident precedes the action. You know what I mean? You do it, you gain confidence because you've done it before, then you do it again, and you do it again, then you do it again. I think a lot of people expect that other people walk in with confidence. It's like one of those unteachable lessons of this guy had it well, or this person was unbelievably talented, or, you know, like from birth, right? They just like had this whatever, and they just like were kind of given the road. No one's given the road. Everyone has their own challenges, but you do get there to the point where now you've done enough reps that you don't have to do this part of the process, because you kind of know it back and front, right?
I have a conflicting relationship with that question of, are you born with a skill or does it come from practice? Because I have been I always say that I've gotten my skill as an artist through constant practice. But then I think about how art kind of did just come to me differently than
and you have
else.
things you're good at and not good at, but to be the best of the best, there's other people that are also born with exceptional art skill, and you're competing against them, right? It's the same kind of thing. But speaking of which, I wanted to ask you this. This is amazing, but you know, other people do pet sketches too, like and portraits, and artists that do this kind of stuff. Like what makes Summer's sketches, and what really makes you unique?
There are quite a few other pet art related businesses in Kelowna, and I love to see it because there's so many different styles. And I think what sets my stuff apart from a few others that come to mind is I have that more like realistic style. I love the cartoon caricature styles, and there's some painting artists around town too. But my stuff, I really try to make it look realistic and actually look like the animal, like when they give me the photo.
Recognition is huge when they recognize their pet.
Oh yeah, I want it to actually look like them, and not saying that any other artist in town does this, but not just give them a cartoon drawing of a pug. But it doesn't look like their pug, it just looks like a pug. Again, not saying that any of the artists do that, it's just an example.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's also so important to me to bring a little bit of that like personality out through the drawings. And thankfully, I think that's been able to resonate with a lot of people, is if I get a really goofy dog drawn, I think I can really bring in that like personality and energy into the piece. Whereas if it's a memorial piece and they just want something like really nice and kind of like elegant and just like a nice significant special piece, I think I can kind of give it that kind of just effortlessly like beautiful kind of look. It's just to remember the animal, like just to have it like sitting there.
Just to represent the dog.
Yeah, just like a really peaceful, calm energy to it. Yeah, now that I'm kind of speaking about that out loud, I think I can bring different energies into the drawings. Whether it's goofy and funny and silly, or a grumpy cat, or just like, a peaceful, beautiful, calm memorial piece.
It's unique. Not everyone can do that. And I mean, you know, again, there's other pet sketches and artists out there, but I really wanted you to say the eyes.
Oh, yeah, of course.
That's what I was looking for.
Yeah, it was in my mind. I just forgot to come back to it.
Every single piece that you do, the eyes are
the most important piece.
There it is.
Yeah, the most important part of all of my drawings is the eyes. You've heard me say it before, but if the eyes don't look right, then the whole piece just kind of falls flat. But the eyes, I love to bring like sparkle and life into them and truly capture the animal's actual eyes. And thankfully, I think that's resonated with a lot of my clients, whether it's through the 20-minute sketches or a 20-hour colored portrait. I think the eyes always hit home. So
they do always hit home. It's like, it is the centerpiece. And you start from the eyes, right?
Yeah.
And you work your way out. So
yeah.
that's good because you know quickly as
Yeah.
it builds, like if the eyes are right, so you're not doing it at the end, you're like, oh shit, I gotta erase around.
Oh yeah. The whole piece is done around the eyes.
There's a method to the madness.
Yeah.
To an extent.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. And then something I wrote down that I definitely want to ask you before we get wrapped up here is I had a light bulb moment when you were talking about going into events and bars and bars, pubs, events. I'm missing the big one, farmers markets and all these other places. Like you mentioned, okay, so they do a sketch. They come back, like I'm doing it for 25 minutes. They come back near the end of the event or however long. These people, if they're not, unless you're delivering them, I was wondering, like, you provide value of a brand. How do you continue to get into places like this? Where's the real like value for the venue? Or like if you're an individual restaurant, they're going to be there for 25 minutes or 40 minutes or an hour at that event, interacting with people, buying food, going to the other parts of the event. You keep that client there for a significant amount of time. And like cliche, but time is money. Absolutely right. The longer you have that person in your environment, the more likely they are to familiarize themselves, the more likely they are to come back. Like there was a huge survey done on like restaurant frequent visits to restaurants and places that are highly impactful, and it's all just time. Like the people like the most, the restaurants that people like the most are just how long they've spent there, right?
Yeah.
So the longer someone spends at a restaurant, time-wise, the more likely they are to come back.
Yeah.
Huge value add for people. I really wanted to mention that because I think that's, for anyone watching this that wants to further monetize a social brand or outgoing, like bring in someone that can keep your clients there for an extended period of time.
Oh, that's a great point. And people are happy to wait like 45 minutes for a sketch and just get another drink.
They're going to go
food
around, they're
or
going to hang out, they're going to
out.
spend a bunch of money. Exactly.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's one, I think, great lesson to get from that. And I wanted to ask you this the whole time. This is a big part of the event and speaking to artists that, maybe don't have it all figured out, or, they want to do that as a career and they love their art or they love being creative, but they can't find a way to monetize it, and which that translation just means provide value to a large amount of people. What advice would you give to someone trying to get their art career off the ground and maybe they work a job and they want to break out of that?
Something I hear a lot of creatives say, and it's something that I felt for a long time as well, is they don't want to monetize it because they don't want to ruin like their favorite hobby. They don't want to put the pressure on themselves to start charging for their hobby and their passion.
Yeah.
That held me back for a long time. And eventually it just kind of came to a mindset thing for myself of like, okay, I do love doing this. I would love to support my life on this and have this be my career. I just need to make it worth my time, because I think what that worry comes from of getting burnt out from your hobby is you're not like charging enough, usually not making it actually worth your time, and that's where that burnout comes from.
You need to make a living.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh, for sure.
At least, yeah.
And creative businesses are so interesting too in how they're price, and I'm figuring it out and becoming more confident in that every day. But all the conversations I have with other creatives, we all feel the same thing about that. But if there is another creative out there who is worried about pursuing their art as a business, but they don't want to wreck it for them, and they're worried they're not going to enjoy it, I'd probably start with asking yourself, like, how much, what will make it worth your time, and to ask yourself, like, can you see a life where you're like thriving off this being your full-time career? I don't know, that's something that comes to mind, as it's something I see a lot of people held back on, but even I'm just breaking through the gates on that. But I'm loving it, so I hope that the other artists can love their hobby and turn it into a business as well.
There's a demonization of monetization of creatives and of art. People think that for some reason it's this, maybe it's a little bit political, but it's inherently evil to like sell your work. And I think a really important like pillar belief and mindset in that is, if I choose to sell my art, if I choose to get my name out there, explore this, talk to people about it, network, sell myself, like show what my work is really made of, will I be able to do more or less of that selling my work? Always, and twice on Sunday, more. It's amazing to do art on your own and to have that passion, but if you're not making a living off of it, you know, it's a great hobby, but it can't graduate that. Because you do need to, you know, we live in a world that you do need to prioritize your own needs, like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. Like, you do need your essential, like, you need the bottom, you need the essentials. You need to be able to live off that. If you want to do what you love and you want to tie the top to the bottom of the pyramid, passion to essentials, you know, you gotta draw that connection and just like get over yourself. I think, speaking not as a creative, but I see that happen a lot. And from speaking with creatives, and I've had some creatives on this show now and other people that tell me their story and what really made it worth it for them, what made them love it. Any business, you're going to struggle with income. It's a qualification. It's a pre-qualification. Like, art is no different. Just because you love it and you've been doing it for years doesn't mean it's not going to be difficult to monetize and to get your name out there. But speaking from, you know, hearing this from people firsthand, that was the game changer, because now they can do their music or their art or something else like that to the fullest extent, right? Because they can make a career out of it. But yeah, really long-winded way of saying that don't be afraid to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Don't sell yourself short.
I've heard a lot of artists and creatives talk about how difficult it kind of is to switch from art mode to business person mode. That was definitely a struggle for me at first. Absolutely. Going from creating a piece to, okay, now I have to sell and market and pitch and all of the business owner things that came with that as well was definitely a learning curve. But just kind of flipping your mindset and your skill set a little bit and learning more is another thing you definitely have to take on. But
I like inversion and looking at the alternatives. So, like, let's look at the alternative to that. Let's say you continue to have art as a hobby, which is, again, nothing wrong with that. I think you would agree. What's the alternative? The average person in North America doesn't like their job.
Yeah.
It's like less than 10% are business owners. And why start a business in something that you don't enjoy if there's a path in something that you do enjoy?
Yeah.
What's the alternative? Like, yeah, let's really, really dig into that. It's, for not everyone, but for most people, a job that maybe they're okay with and they can settle in, but they don't really love, like that doesn't fill their bottle, right?
Mm-hmm.
They're going to other places in their life and they're going out on the weekends and they're doing other things to get their fulfillment out of life, and their main endeavor is it's killing them.
Yeah.
It's draining them.
Yeah.
You flip that on its head, and like I feel this business, not creative business. Yeah, I don't know. Podcast maybe a little creative, but my bottle's filled during the week, and I feel like I struggle on the weekends now. Feeling like what's going on. It's almost like this like former ghost of a schedule, and it was a while ago now, but yeah, it really flips on its head. But I'd rather live for 5 days of the week than 2.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I mean, I'm doing what I love all week.
Yeah.
So I'm
You
pretty
having meetings
happy.
at the dog park, and
I'm having meetings at dog parks.
Yeah.
Like, I'm still finding time for kind of friendships and like coffee catch-ups and stuff with some people I want to get to know better. But I think I have a pretty good like work-life balance, because even at these events, like, yeah, I'm working, but I'm hanging out with people and talking about dogs. So
it's pretty cool.
I'm pretty happy. Yeah.
Pretty happy with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Summer, I have a question that I want you to leave for the next guest we have on the show, which I will ask them. First of all, I want you to give me a question that we should ask the next person.
Oh, this is fun. Okay, a question for the next person. For the next person, if you weren't doing what you're currently doing now, like I'm assuming they'll be an entrepreneur. So if they weren't pursuing their current business, what would they be doing otherwise?
Okay.
Yeah.
And closing question for you. And
Did this come from another person?
No, this is coming from me to you.
Okay.
I did want to spend a little more time on like where you see this going, but you know, Summer Martens Art has flourished, skyrocketed. Where is her brand in 5 years, and what does your lifestyle look like?
I definitely want to keep up the pet sketches. They're really fun, and I think they're an accessible form of art for more people, because they are a little bit more of a low ticket item, but they're just so fun and kind of unique. And I want to do them throughout the Okanagan some more. I've been able to do some in Penticton now, but I'd like to go throughout the Okanagan and maybe down to like the island, or who knows where else. Maybe I can do some pet sketches abroad or something. And as for the colored portrait commissions, just continuing to fill up wait lists and do waves of like order launches and stuff, and just keep getting better at them too. With every piece I do, I get a little bit better. So in 5 years I can see my skill improving a lot as well. And like, who knows where else I go in 5 years. I'm interested in kind of bringing up the next generation of artists a little bit, or just sharing what I've learned in my business as an artist. So I'm excited for where I'll be at in 5 years.
All sorts of ideas.
So many ideas. I just need to focus on the right ones one at a time.
It's hard to say no to
Yeah.
ideas.
Maybe in 5 years I'll have a dog.
There you go, right? You got a full-time working right in front of you.
Yeah.
You draw them all day.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Cool.
that's it.
Cool.